Imagine hearing that someone, after centuries of searching, is about to open a tomb that has been sealed for 3,000 years. Not just any tomb, but the lost tomb of Cleopatra, Egypt's last and most mysterious queen. For centuries, no one knew where she was buried. Some believed she would never be found, but now the moment has arrived. What if I told you that opening this tomb could change everything we thought we knew about history? Ancient legends whisper of curses that punish those who disturb a queen's final resting place. Cleopatra. When you hear it, you probably picture a queen draped in gold, lounging on a throne, or perhaps sharing secrets with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Hollywood has turned her into a glamorous figure, a beautiful woman who seduced great men. But the truth, it's far more thrilling than that. Cleopatra wasn't just a queen, she wasn't just beautiful. She was a genius, a strategist, a scientist, and a goddess in the eyes of her people. She spoke 9 languages, wrote books on medicine, and ruled an empire when women had almost no power. She wasn't just playing a game, she was rewriting the rules. After her death, she vanished from history. There were no grand monuments, no pyramids with her name carved in gold. Now, after thousands of years, archaeologists think they've found her tomb. But the path to this discovery wasn't easy. It began with a woman named Kathleen Martinez, a criminal lawyer from the Dominican Republic who believed she had left clues behind. People laughed at her. Experts said she was chasing a fantasy. But Kathleen wasn't just guessing. She had a theory that turned everything on its head. Instead of looking for her in the famous city of Alexandria, where most believed she was buried, Kathleen believed Cleopatra had hidden her tomb somewhere nobody expected, in a ruined temple called Taposiris Magna, west of Alexandria. Well, she wasn't just a queen. She was also considered a living goddess, the earthly form of Isis, Egypt's most powerful deity. And Taposiris Magna was no ordinary temple. It was a place dedicated to Isis herself. A small depression in the ground catches Kathleen's eye. At first, it looks like nothing. But as the team begins to clear the sand, a hole appears, and then a shaft, a narrow, dark shaft, descending deep into the earth. It's a dangerous drop. No ladder, no ropes, just handholds carved into the walls. The kind of entrance is designed to keep people out. The shaft leads to hidden chambers, painted in colors that still cling to the walls after thousands of years. Chambers that no one had seen for centuries. Legends tell of curses placed on the tombs of queens and pharaohs, curses meant to punish those who dared to disturb the dead. The most famous curse is said to have killed everyone who opened King Tut's tomb. Accidents, mysterious illnesses, sudden deaths. Born in 69 BC, she ascended to the throne at just 18 years old, co-ruling with her younger brother. But the Ptolemaic dynasty, known for its betrayals and bloodshed, was crumbling. Cleopatra's brilliance wasn't in her beauty, as many myths claim, but in her mind. She spoke 9 languages, studied astronomy, medicine, and philosophy, and was determined to restore Egypt's glory. But Cleopatra's fate took a dark turn after the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, where the Roman navy, led by Octavian, later Augustus Caesar, defeated her and her lover, Mark Antony. Forced back to Egypt, Antony took his own life. She, refusing to be paraded through Rome as a conquered queen, ended her life. A calculated act of rebellion that left the world stunned. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. After Cleopatra's death in 30 BC, her body vanished. Roman historians wrote accounts, but none could confirm where she was buried. Some say the Romans destroyed all traces of her. Others whisper that Cleopatra had a final plan, a secret burial to protect her body and her legacy from Roman hands. Imagine the terror this instilled in Rome. A queen so powerful in life, her memory still haunted them in death. For 2,000 years, scholars believed she was buried in Alexandria, the city she loved. But Alexandria sank beneath the waves over 1,000 years ago, leaving behind only broken pillars and submerged ruins. Then came Kathleen Martinez, a criminal lawyer turned archaeologist. For 20 years, she followed a theory dismissed by experts. She believed Cleopatra was buried not in Alexandria, but at Taposiris Magna, a ruined temple dedicated to the goddess Isis, 45 kilometers west of the city. Cleopatra claimed to embody Isis, the supreme female deity. But the path to Cleopatra's tomb wasn't just filled with dust and stone. It was lined with fearful omens. Hidden underground shafts, collapsed chambers, and tales of curses meant to punish those who disturbed the queen's rest made the journey perilous. Martinez's gamble paid off. In a shaft plunging 35 meters underground, her team found two skeletons lying side by side. The bodies were surrounded by coins bearing Cleopatra's face, statues, and ceremonial objects. But that wasn't the most terrifying part. Cleopatra's reign was more than politics. It was a cultural statement. She knew that to rule successfully, she needed to blend Egyptian traditions with her Greek heritage. Unlike previous Ptolemies, she embraced Egyptian customs, dressing in local styles and speaking their language fluently. She portrayed herself as a goddess, aligning with Isis, Egypt's most revered deity. This connection wasn't just religious, it was strategic. By claiming divine status, she reinforced her authority among Egyptians. Her ego wasn't about vanity, it was a tool, a way to maintain loyalty in a divided kingdom. But her cultural ego extended beyond Egypt. She made sure Rome knew her name. She dazzled Julius Caesar and Mark Antony with her intelligence and wealth. She wanted to prove Egypt wasn't just another territory, it was a civilization rich in knowledge and tradition. Cleopatra's belief in Egypt's greatness shaped her rule and decisions. She wasn't content being a local ruler, she envisioned Egypt as a center of power recognized across the Mediterranean. Despite her efforts, her dream crumbled after her death in 30 BC. The Ptolemaic dynasty, which had ruled for nearly 3 centuries, came to an end. Egypt lost its independence and became a province of the Roman Empire. Rome's control changed Egypt's destiny, shifting it from a powerful kingdom to a conquered land. This transition wasn't just political, it marked the end of an era where Egypt influenced science, art, and religion. She represented the final hope of Egyptian sovereignty. Her death symbolized more than personal loss. It marked the collapse of a cultural empire. Egypt's wealth, knowledge, and history were now at the mercy of foreign rulers. Cleopatra's final act, choosing death over humiliation, was a statement of resistance. She refused to become a trophy in Rome's triumph. Cleopatra's image as a powerful woman didn't fade with time. She became a symbol of femininity and leadership. For centuries, artists painted her as a beautiful queen adorned in jewels. Writers described her as both enchanting and intelligent. Cleopatra's story inspired countless plays, poems, and sculptures. Her appeal wasn't just in her looks. She showed that power wasn't limited to physical strength. Her influence came from intelligence, charm, and strategy. She balanced softness with strength, elegance with determination. She proved that being a woman didn't mean being weak. She led armies, negotiated with emperors, and governed a kingdom. Cleopatra's legend continues to captivate. Her life has inspired films, books, and theatre. One of the most famous portrayals is the film Cleopatra, 1963, starring Elizabeth Taylor. This movie brought Cleopatra's story to life with dazzling costumes, dramatic scenes, and grand sets. It became a cultural phenomenon, cementing Cleopatra's image as a glamorous queen. But Cleopatra's influence isn't limited to cinema. Her story appears in music, television, and fashion. Designers create collections inspired by her iconic style. Singers reference her power and allure in songs. Her tale fascinates because it combines love, betrayal, and ambition. Despite all that is known about her, many questions remain. Scholars debate her appearance. Ancient coins show her with sharp features, while Roman writings describe her beauty. Her personality is equally mysterious. Some describe her as ruthless, others as wise and compassionate. The year was 48 BC. Egypt was in turmoil, caught in the struggles of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Cleopatra, determined to reclaim her throne after being ousted by her brother Ptolemy XIII, sought the help of the most powerful man in the world, Julius Caesar. Caesar had arrived in Alexandria pursuing his rival, Pompey, but he found himself entangled in Egypt's royal conflict. She knew that securing Caesar's support would ensure her return to power. Legend tells of Cleopatra's daring entrance into Caesar's quarters, rolled in a carpet, presenting herself as a ruler worthy of alliance. This act wasn't just bold, it was genius. She demonstrated charm, wit, and determination, qualities Caesar respected. Their partnership quickly evolved into a political and romantic bond. She wasn't simply Caesar's lover, she became his ally in stabilizing Egypt. Together, they defeated Ptolemy XIII, restoring Cleopatra to the throne. To strengthen their union, she gave birth to Caesarion, Ptolemy XV, claiming him as Caesar's son. This child symbolized more than a personal connection. He represented Cleopatra's vision of an empire uniting Egypt and Rome. For a period, Cleopatra lived in Rome, residing in Caesar's villa. Her presence captivated Roman society, but also stirred controversy. Cleopatra's influence worried Rome's elite, who feared her power and Egypt's growing role in Roman politics. However, in 44 BC, everything changed. Julius Caesar was assassinated on the Ides of March. His murder ended Cleopatra's stay in Rome and shattered her ambitions of a joint empire under Caesarion's rule. Heartbroken but resolute, she returned to Egypt. The next chapter began in 41 BC, when she encountered Mark Antony, one of Rome's most influential leaders. After Caesar's death, Rome was divided among three leaders: Antony, Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, and Lepidus. Antony, controlling the eastern provinces, summoned her to Tarsus to explain her political loyalties. His arrival was nothing short of spectacular. She sailed up the Cydnus River in a barge adorned with gold, dressed as Aphrodite, goddess of love. The spectacle worked. Antony, known for his appreciation of luxury and grandeur, was enchanted. But Cleopatra's performance wasn't about seduction alone, it was a calculated display of power. She showed Antony that Egypt was wealthy, sophisticated, and indispensable. Their relationship blossomed into a partnership rooted in mutual interests. Antony needed Egypt's resources to support his military campaigns, while she sought protection for her throne and the future of Caesarion. This partnership soon deepened into a romantic connection. Their bond grew stronger as they spent winters together in Alexandria, indulging in lavish feasts, games, and intellectual discussions. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Together, she and Antony had 3 children: Alexander Helios, Cleopatra Selene, and Ptolemy Philadelphus. These children represented the couple's hope of founding a dynasty that would rule both East and West. However, their growing power alarmed Rome. Antony's decision to separate from Octavia, his Roman wife and Octavian's sister, fueled tensions. Octavian viewed Antony's alliance with her as a threat to Rome's unity. The tensions between Antony and Octavian escalated. Octavian used Antony's relationship with her as a political weapon, portraying Antony as a traitor who had abandoned Rome for an Egyptian queen. Rome's Senate declared war on Cleopatra, marking her as a foreign enemy. The climax of this conflict was the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. Antony and Cleopatra's forces faced Octavian's fleet in a decisive naval battle. Despite their efforts, they suffered a catastrophic defeat. As Octavian's forces advanced on Egypt, Antony, believing she dead, took his own life. In reality, she was still alive. Legend says she mourned Antony, refusing to surrender to Octavian. She realized that defeat meant humiliation. Octavian planned to parade her through Rome, a fate worse than death for a queen who had ruled as a goddess. Determined to control her own destiny, Cleopatra chose death over disgrace in 30 BC. Although tales of her suicide involve the bite of an asp, the truth remains uncertain. What is certain is that Cleopatra's death ended Egypt's independence. Rome absorbed Egypt, making it a province of the empire. The belief in curses didn't start with her. Ancient Egyptian culture deeply respected the afterlife, and with that respect came a need to protect the dead. Tombs across Egypt often featured threatening inscriptions designed to deter looters. These warnings weren't empty threats. They promised severe punishments like sickness, misfortune, or even death for those who dared to desecrate the burial sites. Egyptians believed that disturbing the resting places of the deceased disrupted the balance between the mortal world and the afterlife. These inscriptions weren't merely superstitions. The pharaohs and noble families invested vast resources into building tombs that would remain untouched for eternity. The curses acted as both spiritual safeguards and psychological deterrents, instilling fear in would-be thieves. Such warnings could read, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." These ominous messages fueled the belief that Egyptian tombs carried mystical protections, a belief that would later be projected onto Cleopatra's elusive burial site. Cleopatra wasn't just a ruler, she was considered the living embodiment of the goddess Isis, the most revered female deity in Egyptian mythology. Isis symbolized healing, magic, and protection, making her central to Egypt's spiritual life. Cleopatra's alignment with Isis wasn't coincidental. It was a deliberate political and religious strategy. By presenting herself as Isis on earth, she reinforced her divine right to rule and positioned herself as a figure of immense spiritual significance. Given this association, many theorists believe that Cleopatra's tomb could possess divine protections beyond mere warnings. The spiritual power attributed to Isis included the ability to protect her followers through magical forces. If she indeed embodied this goddess, it would be logical for her burial site to contain ritualistic protections designed to guard her soul in the afterlife. These spiritual defenses might include curses intended to inflict misfortune, illness, or even madness upon any intruder. This belief gains strength when considering how Cleopatra's tomb, if found, would be one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in history. The fear of supernatural consequences has kept explorers wary. What if breaking into her tomb unleashed forces meant to remain undisturbed? Such questions add layers of mystery and fear to the ongoing search. The legend of tomb curses took a global turn with the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 by Howard Carter. Shortly after opening the tomb, several individuals connected to the excavation mysteriously died, including Lord Carnarvon, who funded the expedition. Reports of his sudden death from a mosquito bite infection led newspapers to declare the existence of a pharaoh's curse. Although modern science attributes these deaths to natural causes, the idea of a curse gripped the public imagination. The fear of curses became so widespread that even seasoned archaeologists expressed hesitation. Stories spread of archaeologists struck by disease, accidents, or sudden death after working in Egyptian tombs. Whether due to environmental hazards or pure coincidence, the connection between tombs and tragedy became embedded in popular culture. As we journey through the fragments of her life, we see more than just a ruler. Cleopatra was a visionary, a leader who defied the norms of her era. She wasn't defined by the men around her, but by the choices she made, choices that shaped nations and inspired legends. Her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony weren't simple romances. They were alliances forged in the fires of political survival. With Caesar, she envisioned a united empire. With Antony, she dared to dream of ruling the world. Each decision she made was a calculated step toward securing Egypt's future, even as Rome's shadow loomed larger. His influence transcended the borders of her kingdom. In a world dominated by emperors and generals, she stood as an equal, commanding armies, dictating policies, and steering the fate of her nation. Her intellect matched her beauty, her strength, her allure. She understood that power wasn't given, it was claimed, earned through wit, charisma, and determination. Cleopatra mastered the art of influence, weaving politics and culture into a tapestry of dominance. Her portrayal as the living goddess Isis wasn't mere vanity. It was a statement, a declaration of divine right and unchallengeable rule. For Cleopatra, being seen as Isis wasn't just about faith. It was about power, legacy, and immortality. This divine association elevated her beyond mortality, making her more than a queen. She became a myth, a figure whose story would be retold for millennia. If you're enjoying uncovering mysteries, click super thanks. By staying connected, you're helping this story grow, keeping the journey alive. Some believe that disturbing her tomb could awaken forces best left untouched. After all, a queen who embodied a goddess would surely ensure her peace remained undisturbed. The legend of Cleopatra's tomb becomes a testament to her enduring power. Even in death, she commands respect, fear, and fascination. Each unanswered question about her life and death adds another layer to her legend, a legend that refuses to fade. His legacy isn't just etched in ancient stone, it lives on in art, literature, and film. From Shakespeare's tragic verses to the silver screen's dazzling portrayals, Cleopatra remains an icon of feminine strength and political acumen. Her image has inspired empires, her story has fueled imaginations, and her life continues to challenge perceptions of leadership, gender, and power. Every legend of curses, every debate about her appearance, and every search for her tomb speaks of a queen who transcended her time. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel until the next video.